Here's a question for you, because I have a few of my own personal thing, but in the studio, with a sketch, what were the ones that just killed the hardest or made you laugh the hardest? And it's probably dozens of them, but I have one in mind that I was in that I didn't write, but it went to a level of laughter and involved an animal. Massive head wound Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Because an animal, you know,
a dog
was
like the thing.
bedlam.
But also the headline of it, massive head wound. You kind of go, what? That's an odd sitcom.
You know, I thought that was
song.
Jack Handy said it had such an odd title, but I think it was Schneider's in it.
I think it was Schneider and probably a few other people helped, but I think Rob.
Maybe they gangbanged it.
Franken too. Yeah. But that was just one of those things that they said between Dress and Air. Like Rob had asked the handler of the dog, well, what would make him really voracious? Well, so they didn't feed him. He was hungry and then put more stuff on my prosthetic head. So the dog went crazy. And because I was trained by you, I didn't want to be about the prosthesis coming off. So I went like that and just held it. But it was such a long battle between me and the dog that.
And you kept in it.
Yeah.
I stayed in. I didn't want it to be about that.
And you didn't milk it. No, and I think that's the discipline of it. You know, that you transcend it. You're still playing.
Yeah, you don't want when it's killing that hard. It was like Pepperboy with Sandler, and that was killing so hard on air. It just came out, and Sandler and I were just in a rhythm together.
Yeah,
and then Farley had one line, and on the dress show, it's
angrily.
like, whoa, Pepperboy. So then the air show, and of course we're coming around to like a pepper or whatever, and Farley's like, well, thank you, Pepperboy, but 10 times louder than I just said it. Yeah. Sandler turns purple, is turning away from the camera to me, and I whisper, I keep the Italian accent, and I go, don't break.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't break because I thought the sketch was going so good that I didn't want
ruin
it to
Yeah.
If it's not going good, okay, you can break, but not if it's good.
But also a sketch like Canteen Boy with Alec and Sandler
around the campfire.
in that sleeping bag.
I wouldn't get too far these days. Yeah. Oh, my God.
That
Even
was
back then, it was resistance.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So when you get, obviously it's probably still exciting. And would you ever want to stop, or is there, or if Dana and I can't take over, what do we do?
I think there's times when it's so frustrating and so whatever that you think. But, you know, when the warm-up is over, you know, and it's just you're hearing those last two songs, just the band, and you know those songs because they don't change much. And then you start to realize you're kind of excited. And that's never changed for me.
No, I don't. I think you're like anyone who's driven, you take the slings and arrows.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand what you did until I guest hosted and was just kind of, you hang out with you kind of more.
Yeah.
And even if you're going out to dinner or whatever, you're constantly producing and constantly thinking and suggesting, and you're really bleeding over every show emotionally. So how do you decompress? I mean, are you, it's like.
Well, I think it's different when you have kids.
Because
you go to the party, you come back, and then somebody's jumping on your chest, and you can still taste the beer, and but they're the priority, and you're not, and that you get through that period. I think for me, and particularly in the pandemic, and for the whole of the 2016 election and afterwards, you sort of went, oh, people are counting on us. Talking about it and being there. And that was like a huge thing. And when we did those at-home shows in the pandemic, you know, the idea that and it always is, it's just the DNA of the show. We show up. So you sort of feel you, with 9/11 or whatever, that you have to. And, you know, when Sandy Hook happened, you know, and McCartney was on the show and Marty Short. And it happened on the Friday. Was when it.
That's the toughest.
And I go, we don't have to do that. I don't know why we have to do that. And then Friday night, you can't not do it. You can't somehow figure it out. And there was a choir, a boys' choir.
Oh yes,
that was on for Wonderful Christmas Time with McCartney.
I remember that sketch.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
and
hysterical.
so Marty shouting at
Martin Short trying, you can't sing.
Is this where Paul talked about this?
Yeah.
And we were, it also happened to be the Friday night that they were shooting the last scene of 30 Rock. Alec on a boat down South Street Seaport. And I promised Tina and Robert and Alec that I'd be there for that. So I'm driving down the West Side Highway now, and I'm still trying to figure out and what I'm going to do because we don't have an opening. And Paul had said, McCartney had said, I can sing, but I thought it's kids. You just can't do any show business.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You could do Let It Be, whatever, but it would be somehow wrong. And I called Lindsay and said, will you call the choir master and see if he's got a chart on Silent Night? And she came back. She said they do, and they have the choir. Yeah. And so it became like we're going to just do that. I knew Phil Himes where he put the candles.
The great lighting designer.
Yeah, and it was like so. They do it, and then they say live from New York, and it did not work at Dress. And I went,
yeah, boy.
Okay, now this is where you have to rack
and
your
then
brain.
Marty told me the story because he was watching me, and he said, you were so puzzling with it while you were giving notes, like, what is it? And then dip to black. Just dip to black, that ends, and then the kids being happy and saying live from New York was completely understandable and forgivable. It was, you couldn't bleed the one into the other. And so it was like, oh, and it worked. And you kind of go, you don't know, but you're like, when you're mixing tragedy in,
very tough.
You need jokes, but also it just is, you're supposed to do it. So you figure it out.
And finding that line, Paul McCartney, I thank you for introducing us in 1986.
And he's, I think he doesn't get credit for being a rocker. Do you know what I mean? I think the cliche was that John was, and he was, sentimental.
Soft,
but half the rock, JoJo, that's Paul.
Helter Skelter.
Yeah, Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
But
I think that he suffers from a good problem in a way, too many great songs.
Yeah.
People hear Let It Be and Hey Jude. They don't hear Here, There, and Everywhere.
Yeah.
And She's Leaving Home. He has so many melodies that you can't even remind people.
Yeah, and when people criticize him, because
you're very good friends.
Yeah. I go, no, he's Mozart. Leave it alone.
Unbelievable.
Just stop it. He writes great melodies. That's who he is. Yeah. And someday you'll get a perspective on it. But it's really, and I saw his last concert at the Meadowlands. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting, it was like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And he did, things you thought you would see for sure weren't in the show.
Right.
It was really well thought out and fresh and brilliant. And about 10, 15 minutes before it ended, it started to rain. And this is at, the Meadowlands. Mm-hmm. No one moved. Mm-hmm. Everybody just sat there.
Sort of a once in a lifetime.
And you go, and it was the last time he was going to perform, and in America anyway. And it was just magical. And for me, it was, Love Me Do is I'm a freshman.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So that's the point of entry. And I think it's all, in the Stones I saw in London this summer too, are just phenomenal.
Love them. Yeah.
And it's just that thing of you want them to be that.
Yes.
You don't need them to, and if Sinatra was singing.
Yeah, you want to hear Summer Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that Get Back, the documentary, kind of couch Paul in a better light. I think there's a little bit more understanding because he could sing all the harmonies, he could play all the instruments, and he could write songs. So it makes sense, as you might say, fingerprints would be, he'd be collaborating with Ringo. Yeah. And I used to do that as a joke impression. So the guy goes in there and he goes, he's walking along, do. And then he's doing it and Get Back to George Harrison.
Yeah.
Well, do. And so the boy genius kind of thing. And Lennon was off on his own journey at that point.
And also, that in the concert, now Peter Jackson gave him a clip so he could sing with Lennon. And,
yes. Well, how does that?
So you realize how young Lennon was.
I know, he's just 28.
I know. And you just go, oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And Paul was, when I was watching him on the rooftop, when John was doing, his song, Don't Let Me Down, Paul is so engaged. not cynical at all. And he's doing this incredible bass line and they're smiling and laughing. And for all of us romantically, because of what they meant to us, we want John and Paul. And for Paul, his favorite part of the thing was them joking around and laughing. Because that's what he wants.
Yeah, he said that's how we want to be remembered.
But, time heals all wounds.
But also people
don't you have that with the cast that you were with?
1,000%. We could run into anybody of our time.
Well, also Sandler's in the middle of it, churning them out. Do you know what I mean? And it's always, and you just go, Rob Schneider's living on a couch there, Suddenly gets into, gets a movie. But,
Rob talked about them getting famous, and then all of a sudden we had girlfriends, you know. And there was something, or who thought of Cantori, the one where I had Victoria's legs over my...
Cantori.
Who really wrote that. But you're right, it is like being in the Marines or something, not literally. No, don't send me letters. But yeah, you see a castmate, even running into Tracy Morgan, he goes, "Hey, alum," there's a esprit de corps.
I also think, I think Bill Murray said it once, you just can't explain what it's like being out there looking into the eyes of somebody else who's in that same scene that is, it's maybe not working, or maybe it's working way better.
Like paddling.
Or working way better than you thought. The sparkle, just that contact of being in that heightened reality, with that level of intensity, you can't really explain. And I'm sure pro athletes have that. I think it's, dancers have it.
Which is another great thing about the show, is that you started having non-performers host the show. I guess you had pro athletes in the 70s, but that's a reality show in itself. If the pro athlete is bombing or killing, it's just a pro. Michael Jordan's going to try to be a sketch player.
Fran Tarkenton was
you had
in the 70s. But also, I had Ralph Nader. I had a lot of people that I just admired. And so
it was
Ralph
very
Nader,
smart.
for his entrance, he was getting off the elevator on 8. And I said, I think if you were eating a hot dog, that will help. Because he said, "Well, I don't eat hot dogs." I know. That's why I think it'll work.
It's part of
it's being sort of
the
startling.
ultimate straight man.
And he got the laugh, and it was like
he lit up.
It's exciting. It's ridiculous.
They compete. I mean, Peyton Manning. I mean, they give each other. They're
Bill
like
Russell, and was.
Oh, he had one.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I was a huge fan, but it was just like you could call people and they'd say, "Okay." You know what I mean?
I didn't even know Bill Russell.
You didn't know who watched the show because we were mostly in 8H. And then you go, "Oh, they're watching." Yeah.
And Wayne Gretzky was so charming.
I had Broderick Crawford was in some FBI movie.
Oh yeah, Broderick Crawford.
And I called him and I said, he was living in Ohio, and I called him and I said, "We're doing the show," and it's called. Said, "Yeah, I think I know it." Yeah. So you'd have to be here on the Monday, and it would be this, and I'm trying to reassure a man who does not need to be reassured. And he said, "All right, send me the ticket."
Send me the ticket for the plane ticket,
an airplane, an airplane. And it's just what I'm getting at is people just volunteered to come. From
Robert Mitchum. Charlton Heston.
Robert Mitchum had one of my favorite monologue lines.
Yes.
About live, and it's so dangerous, and you don't know what could go wrong. And he said, I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I won't get that 119th movie.
Yeah, I remember that. And he landed it perfect. And he was so old school. He had a half gallon of Jack Daniels in his dressing room. He's an old-fashioned movie star.
Yeah.
Incredible to be around.
Walken had that too.
Walken is magic.
Yeah.
Walken... with Cowbell, I think I was just there doing a guest shot, and that thing, hearing Walken come out, and need more Cowbell. I mean, it was so the cast. I mean, I know that Will had done it before, but once you got Walken and then Will, that's why it's just iconic.
Yeah, no, and also the Continental, which he used to do,
Continental was
an actual show that he would see. It was a local New York 15-minute show where this guy was on, and he wanted to do it. So he knew it perfectly.
God, he was good.
And that single camera following
with like a white glove on.
Do you remember Bear Suits Are Funny and Bears as well?
Was that a fake story?
Well, it was Christopher Walken at the meeting.
Yeah.
And we all went around pitching him, and he's kind of staring up in Christopher Walken. And then you said, Chris, and I remember him saying this in specific. If you remember, he just said non sequitur, Bear Suits Are Funny and Bears as well. bear suits are funny, and then he thought, and bears as well. I just thought that was the greatest non sequitur.
And Lauren probably goes, write it up.
Write it up. Let's put you in a bear suit. Yeah. But that was the thrill being around him. He was
there were a lot of people that you were either surprised or couldn't wait to meet or whatever.
And John Goodman could do no wrong. Alec Baldwin was like
my third show was Alec's first show, and that was the Green Hilly, and it was he did the Mimic. He did all these.
One of the things that I loved,
great,
but this is a Wayne's World thing, which you'll remember.
I'll tune in.
He was doing Green Hilly.
Green Hilly, I remember Green Hilly.
You guys were in the conference room waiting to see me about something. And Franken was there waiting to see me, and I can't remember what I was doing, but Franken said out loud, "Can you imagine what it'd be like if we had a really good-looking guy in the cast?"
I remember this one. Oh, boy. Yeah, that would not go over.
And both Dana and Mike were like, kind of looked at each other.
Well, I thought Mike was more intimidating, but maybe I was too. I never considered, I mean, I didn't have a chin. I can't be, I have a limit on how good looking I can be without a chin. Now I've got this. The ladies like
it. He got up for an Emmy for that first show. Alec was kidding every sketch, and it was he came out of Hunt for Red October, and I was just like, I went into the meeting going, oh, this guy's a movie star. Like I was new.
Oh, yeah. And I remember, did I interrupt you just then? Victoria would say, the second time Alec came in, non sequitur, Victoria, like on a Tuesday, I'm not going to do it again. Not this week. I'm not going to do it. And I go, what are you going to do? I'm not going to fall in love with him. I'm not going to fall in love with him. And then by Friday, I fell in love with him.
Yeah, get
but he just these eyes, and he's just
he was a stud.
And
but there was so many home run hitters on that. When I got there and all the writing and the Smigels and Handies, and we talk about it all the time, but it was just hard to, Lauren actually hung in there with me because it took a while to get my footing. I was trying to write for you. It's hard to write for other people. I was just a stand up. So it's just to get it going, and then got a little Hollywood Minute, then got some stuff, and it just, thank God I got in there because it took me longer than most. And
because one, he was in there too.
Yeah, this
so you weren't going to get those parts.
Believe me, let's go through my diary. I'll show you.
David would sit behind me, and Lauren would say, "David's on deck." If you ever,
David, ready? Dana looks tired. You're like, no.
I'd look back.
I'm in reading something from Huxley's.
David's ready whenever you're ready to go.
David, you were funny the first. Yeah, I bet you. Truly,
thank you.
And there was never a moment where I didn't think it was going to work.
Yeah, and your last 2 years,
but at that time I was.
Have you seen cast members? I mean, there's so many that audition. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't say, I guess, if you felt like someone you missed on or someone. I'm sure there's some that just obviously get famous.
I think what happens is if there's no slot. Do you know what I mean? If somebody does kind of what you do, then it's really hard.
Actually, I think Nick Kroll. We talked to him, and he auditioned. And he was the first one. It made sense to me where he goes, they had me. He goes, they had every move I do, and there's just, I'm an extra. So I'm an extra guy.
Well, he looked at Adam Sandberg and Bill Hader, and he locked him off, and he goes, and we talked about this podcast. It wasn't personal. It was just those. And then
3 years earlier, it would have worked 3 years later, but he was like, even he knew it. He goes,
guy. I mean, really, really funny.
So that's just the way it is there. And when we're auditioning, we don't think that. We're just saying, oh, we want to be on. And when Rob and I came on, kind of writer, performers, or maybe just writers. I mean, no one tells anybody anything. So Bernie just said, hey, just go there.
And also, Rob was making copies.
Oh, yeah. He fucking,
and
which was a huge
somehow that just caught on.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know why it catches on, but and then you run it into the ground.
I mean, I first met.
And then we run it into the ground. It's just
a catchphrase.
Oh, the jealousy hit an all-time high when Sting came on, looking like a stud, and then we're stingling a ding dong, and then you go, "You want to be in Copy Machine?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "God damn!" So it just, you have to sit on the sidelines and go, good job. And you go, what am I doing here? It's
making copies.
Yeah, but you know what? And you can't argue it. It's funny. It was original.
Yeah.
No. Rob has a musical
Rob is a great
talent.
writer, too. He's musical and he can write. And
it was so fun to be around these movie stars that are nervous and scared about to go in and do
or musicians.
Or Sting. I remember we were going to do the elevator sketch, and we're in between. He goes, "How's my hair? How's my hair?" He's asking me. It's like, and they're really vulnerable. And they got to, and I told Michael Jordan, if you space out, just read it off the card. It's a very fascinating part of this whole.
They're just flailing. They don't know what to do. They're scared and. if you get to talk to them, they don't know that we're lowly writers. They're like, what do I do here? And I'm like, are you talking to me? I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Jeremy Irons.
I remember his show.
Yeah.
Hello.
Was Saturday, but the Oscars were the Sunday. And he was nominated for Best Actor.
Oh, wow.
And I knew him from a play he'd done with Mike Nichols, and he was a great actor, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were doing a Sherlock Holmes sketch. And I won't name the writer, but they're like in there teaching him an English accent.
Right.
Like, no, it's more this. And you just go, and you just go, well, and then he won Best Actor. But you just go, but the passion and blindness of comedy writers. You know what I mean? Of like, no, you don't get it. It's like this. And you go, and so confident. But performers have witnessed and felt death out there.
Yes.
So they never are confident because they actually know the job. But writers are like, no.
Come on.
And I remember George Meyer when he was on the show, and he was
Showtime.
And he would you'd sort of see himself throwing his body against the wall at dress rehearsal when someone blew a line. And that's why animation works better. Because they do
obey
exactly what they're told. But performers can either give you that exhilaration of like they took it off the paper and now it's this other thing that will always be that.
Yeah.
As opposed to you got the laugh at the end of the line,
I think I was doing a courtroom thing as Johnny Carson, as Johnny Cochran or something, and Smigel had written it, and he's putting all these birds and things on me. And it's 5, 4, 3, and it's a cockatoo. I go, Robert, enough. I got to do the thing. Come on. Robert is relentless that way, which we love him for. He
wants to be performing.
Oh, he loves to perform. Yeah, but we had some great collaborations together. He was good with rhythms and So this new season,
excited.
How is you're pulling up your socks. You're feeling good. You're just eyes wide open.
I think it was. We ended the season with goodbyes. Particularly Kate and
actually
Maybe
said it.
And Pete, and so dealing with that, it just had that valedictory thing, which we did with Kristen Wiig as well. We've done it a bunch of times. And you just slipped out in the dead of night.
I blame it on Bernie. You gotta go now,
Irish
kid,
exit.
or you'll never go. No, I don't know why I did that. A lot of people on this, just anecdotally, without naming names, kind of like go, why did I leave? Because some of them left voluntarily.
Yeah.
And why was I so angry?
Yeah.
And what was I thinking? And for me personally, I had so many inputs coming at me.
Yeah.
I got too hot, too big. It's like Mickey Rooney in The Twilight Zone because of Wayne's World and all the political stuff. So I was sort of lost. But I was envious and thought it was sweet when Kate and people got a little send off. It's sweet.
Yeah, and also I think there's something about it can't be everything, the show. And it is for so long, and then but if you're ever going to leave, and so
you have to leave at some point.
Yeah, but it's also that you're never going to feel that intensity of that because it's its own sport. Do you know what I mean? And you're in Hall of Fame.
Never as hard.
Yeah,
I went to a sitcom, and it was great people, great actors, and I go, this is just not the same. It's just not as tough. And people writing for me, and I go, this is unbelievable.
And also, SNL is all risk. Like there's no safety net, and there's also no guarantee that it's going to work on air.
Or you're gonna be on. I mean, like you're walking through the hallway, and it's like 20-1, and they go, and you're in your outfit, and they go, Gap Girls is cut. You can't get on the air,
and you're in the dress.
I already made it this far.
Go back to your rooms immediately.
Yeah, anything that's cut on it, that's the tough because that's again, there's no guarantees. And
now we tend to play some of those.
Oh, yeah, I guess you guys play dress or you can play.
Well, doesn't Saturday Night Live, I think I read this, gets like, I don't know, almost 2 billion YouTube views. Isn't it number one?
YouTube foreign is huge.
It must be huge.
And what's happened is Lewis Hamilton, the race car driver, was at a party last season. And he said, well, I grew up watching the show. And I go, you're in England. How do you watch the show? You forget that it's all online and people... And then I think when they see the contemporary stuff, then they go back and look at the the shows from.
Yeah.
And there was a period about 15 years ago when writers coming in who would not been alive for the first, 5 or 10 years, we had a server where they could just go on. So sometimes people would watch 2 or 3 shows on Tuesday night before they started. But I'll use an example. I'll say, well, I think we did that with Bill Murray. And then now I look out into a room of like, okay. All right.
Who's Bill Murray?
I'm talking about 45 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a.
I think Peacock probably has all the old ones, maybe.
It's everyone has it on their laptop. I mean, every sketch, right? Because when I was there meeting John Mulaney and Bill Hader, I'm like, oh, what do you guys want to do? They go, we like Mickey Rooney. When I did Mickey Rooney, like, really? And they brought it up immediately. So
and Bill, when I've talked to Bill somewhat seriously about his time there, he was frightened.
He talked about the panic attacks.
And I go, it's so interesting because I'm pretty good at reading that stuff.
Yeah.
But he was so good on air and so original. And I mean, he auditioned with Vincent Price.
Yes.
And
who does that?
And James Mason. Now, they were in my childhood. I don't know how we get it. And things got to Oklahoma later, but it was just so original and right away. Do you know what I mean? And Vinny Bederci and all of that stuff. And you go, such an original comedy voice.
Yeah.
We know what else he can do, but he was truly funny.
So good to have voice
his
on
rhythms
like that.
and the Vincent Price thing. It didn't even matter if you knew Vincent Price, just that his party's being ruined and he's being trying to pull it together. Well, okay, thank you. And it was Toady Field. I don't know who was coming to the room. Toady Fields. But he said he was just, almost in tears in the bathroom and on 8H.
Yeah.
You could, if anyone wanted to see Church Chat, my hand was drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controlling adrenal.
And you don't know. 5 seconds before, you still don't know whether it's going to work or but there is that thing of like it brings out the best in you. And when you win, you really can feel it.
Yeah. Well, you can't, there's nothing like the first big laugh to relax you. You're just not relaxed. And the very first time I said, well, isn't that special? I got such a big laugh. I finally went,
But also, there's a period in which they you probably have 3 or 4 years where they just going to laugh at whatever you do because they think you know more than they do, and they're just so excited to see you, and that's been happening for the last 10 years or so. You just could kind of feel in the room, and I'm going, I don't think that's going to play, and they go, no, of course it's going to play because
it's these guys.
It's those people doing it.
There was once when we were in the Monday meeting and I thought, I don't know if we had a dry spell, but I was in the Monday meeting and the host, who shall remain nameless, but I go, I think Mike and Dana are more famous than the host. And, the cast gets so big sometimes like that, and they're so well known. And you always have, to this day, huge hosts and great people that come in from all areas. And Kim Kardashian did a great job, and that was sort of out of the blue. And just that's great that you keep doing that, and something's working there where they all want to do it still and get that one thing because they hear about it. And they all walk away going, it went too fast and it was too great. And if I do it again, I know what I'm doing this time.
But also hosting, everybody, there's 150 people. They're all there to make you look good.
Yeah.
So you're the center of it, and it's just a different experience.
Unless you're Steven Seagal, you believe that.
Steven Seagal, my favorite host. So when you guys started, which was kind of interesting, having the women play men. Because that wasn't happening. And that just sort of happened organically. And Kate McGinnon did a lot of men and other things. Was that just sort of happened? You went with it. It's just a new flavor.
I mean, if you're me, you're always going to go with the funniest take.
Sure.
So gender isn't the issue. It's just who's got that voice.
Well, Kate had the audience in the palm of her hand, and
I think
she was
Melissa
so
McCarthy
great.
played Sean Spicer.
Yeah, she played Sean Spicer.
And Trump was furious about it. From what
was Trump?
Yeah,
that taking it.
Well, I mean,
not
because
good.
it's like they're having a woman play you. Do you know what I mean? I think
wow, yeah.
Very old-fashioned maleness stuff.
I think at some point he liked what Alec was doing.
He did?
No, I think at the beginning. maybe.
The first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, it was just unique because we knew that Alec obviously didn't favor his politics, and then he started to not like Alec, and it was a public thing.
Yeah.
And before, it was sort of hidden if Daryl Hammond's doing Al Gore, no one really knows his politics or whatever. So that was a new kind of flavor as well.
Yeah, and also we did things that we wouldn't do now, with John Goodman playing Linda Tripp or whatever, so it was just, and I think you sort of, standards and boundaries change. And, things that you could do,
Franken always stretched the envelope.
a piece, I think it was with Garrett Morris and Julian Bond. Mm-hmm. And it was about, it was a black talk show, and it had a line about that light-skinned black people are smarter than dark-skinned.
Oh, God.
It's Franken.
Hello, Franken.
And Garrett would say, like what? But what I'm getting at is we could then, there was no malice in it. It was just like that thing of what can't you say? And
right, in regular TV world.
Yeah.
I like when anyone gained 7 pounds, the next week Farley was playing them. Yeah. That was like, his job was like, it was always brutal.
I used to say this thing about when you guys were filming, because you were up in Toronto, I was down there doing the show, and then I'd come up and whatever, but I'd say, I'd see dailies, and your way of handling stress was, you'd have a banana and whatever, and it'd be like that. And Farley's would just be to continue. You'd lose weight, and he'd gain weight. But the weight in the frame stayed the same. It was always a constant. And it always looked normal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'd go back and forth from Toronto with Eric Newman on the flight with us.
Yes.
Where's his? Are you going to ever write a book, Lauren? Because Meghan Markle did.
No. I think the hard part is
you can't tell the truth, or you don't want to bury people.
Yeah.
And also, I think you go then. When you get to be my age, did that actually happen? Do you know what I mean?
You have to cross-check yourself, too.
Well, it's just you go, your memory.
Right.
I have a good memory. It's not that.
Incredible.
It's just like, well, what? Did that actually happen?
100%. Because Dana and I even would tell stories, and we would disagree. And I'm like, God, you're right. And I go, I remembered it this whole time a certain way, and it was not. And it's just something that happens like that, so you just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why they do all that stuff in murder trials. It's like the people swear they saw this person leave and no, they didn't. Yeah. And you just go, and then they execute you.
And you go, no, wait, we figured it out.
And when it comes to taking credit, I think it's a normal human thing to kind of trend your memory toward favoring yourself a little bit. But you want to cross-check it with other people. Am I remembering this right? Like, was there ever a horse on the show, or a horse on 8H?
Alive?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, lots of horses.
Because during dinner, I was over in my cubicle arranging things, and I saw Keith Richard walking by himself, walking up to the horse, and he held the horse's head in his hand. He said, "Look at you. You're a fucking horse." I swear to God, that's what he said. And then he just went back to his dressing room.
Meandered back.
But I was thinking, did I remember that correctly? There was a horse.
The first time we did it was when Mr. Ed died. It was a news story. And Chevy could do Mr. Ed's voice. And
Wilbur.
So he would, exactly, Wilbur.
Yeah,
and we got the horse in the studio, and then he's interviewing the horse in the last interview, and he'd be doing both parts. So when the horse was talking,
it would be Chevy. Yeah. Must have killed.
Chevy.
Horses, giraffes. We had
monkeys.
We had a camel about 4 years ago. No, maybe longer now. And it got off. Every camel works at Christmas. It's not like you get hold of a camel.
They all work.
The manger
so there was
thing.
One, there was they lied about how big it was. And Kenny Amon was
They're scary.
Kenny Amon. Hey, David.
So he came off the elevator, and then the hump. You can call it a hump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
The hump got stuck in the tiles
because it was so tall.
Of the ceiling.
Yeah.
So it was just stuck. There was no getting it there. And then we're going, but we're on the air. We have to get.
Yeah.
So I think they got a donkey, made it look like a camel. It was like that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's an amazing
Did
show.
Bill Murray punch Chevy, or is that a fake story from the old days?
They got into a fight.
They were
but that
probably
was,
Year
and
3.
John, I think, provoked it a little bit.
I love John.
It was probably my mistake because I was bringing Chevy back to host. But it was a season and a half after he left, and which just made sense. The musical guest on that show was the very young Billy Joel.
I love it.
And they got into a skirmish just in front,
front of the doors,
by the page desk.
Yeah.
And then Chevy had to come out and do the monologue.
Oh, wow.
So it was like
both 6'4", basically. So
and it was just the show was sort of white hot, and it was John always felt in Lemmings, which is the time they'd worked together before the show, John was the star, and Chevy was not. And so, and was like sort of third billing. And Chris, is involved in that show too, Chris Guest. And you kind of go, so there was already like, this is how we see you. And then Chevy exploded.
But Chevy was such a monster star.
But also because he said his name, on Update.
Right. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Well, and he's a big dude, great looking dude.
Yeah.
Movie star by then, right? Coming back after.
I always tell people when I run into Chevy, we're going to have Chevy on the podcast. I try to compliment him, but sometimes he doesn't know. He's a little, but I tell people, if you want to know how great he is as a film actor, look at Caddyshack, where Bill Murray is in his full prime groundsman character with the mouth off to the side. And they're together going through this scene, and Chevy does his Buster Keaton or whatever you want to call how still his face was, and then his physicality. It's like a master class in comic film acting.
He gets beat up a lot, and
people forget what a
seems
great
like old times,
movie
huge.
actor and star. I mean, just
it's a thing. It was like
showbiz.
Such a huge thing.
Yeah.
By the end of the first season, and it was like way too much to handle, and it became particularly hard for he and I because we wrote together, and so we were very close, and so it was heading in two different directions.
And then he became a movie star.
Yeah. Sure,
but then saying ever since he kind of, even when he would come to host, he'd say, "Don't leave too soon." He felt he wished he'd done more seasons because that was that.
It was emotionally, he wasn't ready to leave, and also he was that other thing, really proud of what we'd done.
Yeah.
With the show, so
then he had to see it still be huge and
grow with the Blues Brothers and Lorraine.
And when at the end of the first season, I won 3 Emmy Awards, one for Lily Tomlin, Richard Pryor thing I'd done the year before.
Nice.
And Richard Pryor, who I'd worked with, we had dinner at Dan Tana's, so we were feeling pretty good about ourselves. And he was offered a 3-picture deal at Universal, and he said, "This is what we wanted." Do you know what I mean? Comedians did not get movies.
Yeah,
right.
And it was like, and I thought, I've just been through my championship season. It's not going to. I wrote everything I ever wanted to write, at least twice in that season. So it was like, oh, you could get off stage now, and
Wow.
And I went, I can't do that. Everybody else has to stay for 5 years. What's that? But I think that if you'd said to me then that I would be still doing it, and that I would have found so many other things that were there that I didn't know at the beginning, that were not part of the original design or whatever, things that it grew into, or that it does, or that its influence would be just as strong politically as it is in music or
keep
whatever.
discovering super talented people and being launched from your show to have careers.
Also, they kind of find us now.
Yeah.
In the 70s, you had to go out and recruit, but I think people...
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I liked Staying Alive because there was a time there? Like obviously we were on. If you missed the show, you had to get the rerun 6 months later. And if you missed that, you had to catch. It was luckily on the best of in the summer, but there was a time there when people hadn't seen some of the old ones, and then it was on the E channel, and then now you can see it all. So it's
what's interesting. It's like Emma Stone grew up on Best of Gilda Radner.
Wow.
And those sort of best of, all those best of, you're in them. I mean, but we stopped doing them because the VCR thing.
No, it wasn't really.
Yeah.
And they're all on YouTube, pretty much.
But people wore those out. I think Kate McKinnon had one of those.
One of the last ones, probably.
Oh, best
they had
of?
like 3 movies, which was great.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, we'll take a 20-minute break and, get back for
and start
then
the
part
podcast.
2.
I just, we just want to thank you for
Yeah.
And
doing
we
this.
didn't talk about anybody dying.
We didn't. There was a lot.
No.
Do you want to?
No, I'm good. I mean, but we were there for a lot of that.
A lot of big ones, yeah.
2 of my bandmates for sure.
Yeah.
And I was just at Catalina Island, and that's where Phil's ashes are.
Do you remember John at the memorial?
John Lovitz?
Yeah.
Kind of.
What do you do?
He's
We just talked about Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But they couldn't have been closer.
Yeah.
And they could, that sketch, which is a Groundling sketch that we finally did.
yeah. What's the word on the street?
What's the word on
They
the
were doing the gangster thing so much before we premiered with the first show.
Yeah.
Remember Dynamite going, did they do anything else? It was like, how you doing? What are you? What are they saying? What do you mean, what are they saying? They just did it spastically.
Love it. Still so funny. I see him all the time.
And in Three Amigos, I did it with them. That was scene, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but John is, he's supernaturally funny. He's a
Do you see him? Do you see John?
I do see John, yeah.
I talk to him a lot. He's on the road, or he's at a hotel
doing
with
stand-up.
Jerry, his dog, Jerry Bruckheimer, and it's just there's only one John.
He still is
So
funny
you're
at
talking
dinner.
to Lauren.
One of the most naturally funny people.
He is really, and
Where did that come from?
people like when they see him, they all know him. He looks exactly the same. They all come up. I love seeing him.
He came back to play somebody like 3-4 years ago in a cold opening, and he destroyed at dress. And I said, John, you got to make sure you're on your mark before you go, like that. And he was just off camera, just slightly off camera. The live audience was going nuts, but it wasn't, what I thought,
heartbreaking.
because it's still all natural. Do you know what I mean? It
Right.
isn't-
So that's the moment he felt to do it, as
Yeah.
opposed to 3, 2, 1,
Yeah.
get to my spot
Yeah.
and then do it.
Yeah. Like Hartman would have been on camera for sure.
Who?
Hartman.
Oh, Phil was, his binder was so meticulous. His office was meticulous. He was in so many sketches. And then he would just, in between takes or when we're rehearsing, he would just be looking at Evan
I
Roode
couldn't believe he'd look
molding.
at something else. I go, you're not
He'd look
thinking
at
about this.
boats and his plane.
He had
and
it
was
wired. Yeah,
a
he
Renaissance person. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Smart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, buddy.
It's been great getting to know you guys.
Yes, it's nice to meet you.
I really feel like I know you now.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
no, thank you for
I'm
doing
going
this,
now.
Lauren. Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com.
We have a question here.
Great.
Who will take over for Lorne? How will the show adjust and move forward?
Well,
75 people asked this question.
Yeah, 75 plus.
From the same
We get a
email,
lot of
though.
this is the question we get a lot. Okay, I would say we did touch on it. I don't think he's going to want to talk about it because
No.
it means retiring, and I don't think anyone wants to retire. I don't know if
Right.
he can handle the stress or if he wants to give it away or if people will say, oh, ever since Lauren left, it's just a great excuse to say, oh, the show went
We
down.
did, and it was kind of a joke, but sort of serious. We offered ourselves up to take over as co-producers, and Lauren's eyes got real big, and he just went, right.
Right. And I said, or we could just take the money and we do nothing.
Just get the credit,
Yeah.
and then stir that credit, and then work at the podcast.
And then just see if it does
I'll say,
it on its own.
philosophically, off the top of my head, I do think it's tough to replace Lauren because he works in so many invisible ways, and that is the relationship with the bosses. Because for years, and we touched on this, but I don't.
Very complicated.
They're always when the show's ratings are down. Sorry, I had a little nip. When the show's ratings are down, they want to change it. It's got to be taped, or you can't. Lorne was so vigilant about keeping it exactly the same. That's why you go back, and it's a little bit creepy in there because it's like going back to high school.
It's cool. Now, the only thing different now when you go back is all the photos when you walk down that first hall are all so historical because it's every big star doing a big sketch, and you're like, whoa, all right here.
Yep.
All the history of almost 50 years. So I don't know. You know, there's names. There's Tina Fey. They're perfectly capable if she wanted it.
Steve Higgins.
There's Higgins. There's Downey. There's who wants the job, who can handle it. Remember Apatow talked about it?
Yeah, he's a producer. Apatow could do it.
Maybe he wouldn't be as close enough to the show, so he'd get some resistance, but he obviously knows what he's doing.
Lorne took over as such a young man. It feels like it needs young, and yet the show is already adjusting just culturally. It's evolving. You know, when I was on, there was like 6 cast members. Now there has to be
600,
20 or 25. Well, they were 600 for a while. Okay, I'll ask you a question, David. Who would be the biggest surprise you could think of that would take over for Lorne? I have my answer. Let's hear yours.
No, they're all
the
so
biggest
offensive.
surprise.
They're so offensive.
Oh, they're offensive? Why are they offensive?
Because it sounds like they don't have a good career if I say their name. Like,
Well, no,
so
they're
funny.
becoming executive producers.
Okay, what's yours? Then I'll decide. I'll change.
John Lovitz.
Line
I'm
up.
producing now.
You?
You're in the cold opening. Do you know what a cold opening is? It's the beginning. No, that was my jokey
Maybe
one.
you should try acting.
So that would be my surprise one. But the truth is, nobody knows. It's 3 years from now. And but the 50th is.
We did talk about the 50th. Though.
And Lorne has not announced his retirement officially at all.
No.
It just feels like 50 is like, it's halfway to 100.
Dana, why are you pushing me out the door?
I just want your couch. That's what I told him. No. He's got popcorn. He's a popcorn guy. Tootsie Rolls.
Well, I guess
we actually don't have an answer for this question.
Is petering out, but we don't like to stop talking. So thank you for asking, and the answer is we don't know.
We could have said 3-4 minutes ago, we don't know. Instead, we're narcissists, and we like the sound of our own voice. So thank you, 75 plus.
Yeah, we want to cram one
all
more
from
ad.
the same email address. You know who you are.
It's Lorne himself.
What did they say?
Lorne@lorne.com. Okay, thanks, guys. This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13, executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13. Dana, this is the show, and we got Luke Wilson, our old buddy. Cool hand Luke. That guy's a stud, dude.
Handsome and charming.
Click he looks all tough. Yeah. I click no boxes. This dude's just a box clicker. And he also golfs. He's really good at golf.
Yeah.
And,
there's no red flags. He's just a box clicker.
He's such a goddamn box clicker. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just walks around checking boxes and looking cool, and he sounds Southern.
Great
I
actor.
think it's real.
Those Wilson brothers, they got their own kind of accent. It's called the Wilson brother accent. It's like just a very cool, it kind of makes you mellow out.
Yeah.
Just chill.
It just mellows me out. Yeah.
Because you know how anxious you get.
Yeah, my accent is more like thirsty and anxious.
Yeah.
People pleasing, gross.
I'm a people pleaser. I got the disease of please. I'm going to become a badass.
I got the disease to please.
Tease to please. Yeah, line me up.
And he's also in Horizon, which you've seen all of, and I've seen some of because I love Costner, and I like it. It's cool, and he's cool, of course.
He is effortlessly makes a great cowboy, and there's an incredible scene in there. So we do talk about working with Costner and that movie, and
Also his new movie, You Gotta Believe.
You Gotta Believe, and that's a family picture around a baseball coach who falls ill, and the team, and it's based on a true story. So check that out.
Mr. Greg Kinnear, who I used to see more of, but he's out there.
Gregory Kinnear.
I think he's a client of Carvey.
No wonder you don't see him so much.
He doesn't like money. You like money?
No, he's great. He's always great at things. For us, it was kind of fun because, we like to talk about ourselves. As Luke was curious about us. Some guests, like to ask questions. So that was sort of fun talking about ourselves a little bit.
He's like just a charmer. About me.
Yeah.
He also
he's the guy
was
you want to hang out with.
Reese Witherspoon. What's that movie? The huge one. Heather, what's it called? It's her first one with she's a lawyer. God, you don't know it. Blonde. Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde really stumped the panel. Anyway, and he was in Old School. He's in so many movies.
Old School, Legally Blonde. Yeah, there's just tons of movies.
Love it. All right, well, enough of us. Here he is, Luke Wilson. Yeah, he looks cool. Shit, put your clothes on, dude.
Damn.
Hey, guys. I want to thank you for appearing on my podcast, Talking with the L Train. I appreciate that. Just want to get a couple of ads out of the way here. Dana, I'm going to have you read one for Miramax Films, and David, yours is going to be for Anthony Pelicano Private Investigations. Okay. I am emailing you guys the text.
God, I love it. You're so efficient. I'm recording for Dana's World. It's a little side pod, just so you know. Doesn't matter.
I'm doing some drone footage of this.
Great to see you guys. Long time, first time, as they say.
Yeah.
You remember ours, though, right? You, me, Nealon, and your brother had dinner at this restaurant.
Yeah, dinner, yeah.
Right, and the next day the economy was shut down. Stay indoors, right, basically.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just thinking about that dinner because I've never been back to that place. And I think
neither.
I think Owen had just done that hiking with Kevin thing, and then that's how we all happen to have dinner. But I was thinking about that. That's the only time I've ever gotten the chance to meet you. So,
well, we just scattered. That was it. We just scattered.
Yeah.
I don't really put numbers I'm getting better at putting numbers in my phone. So I thought of calling or texting you guys. And when your brother got SNL, I think he gave a text to me, but he didn't say his name, and I was like, who is this?
Right.
I didn't really. So, anyway.
That was great when he did SNL. Because I think he was, he had not done it for a long time. And I think he and Lauren are good friends. So it was cool when he got the chance to do that.
Are you the only brothers that have done it, or it must have been other brothers?
No,
both have hosted.
There have to be a few others. Didn't the Gibbs do it? And
the Gibbs.
The Gibbs. Andy Barry did it.
Did Harvey and Bob Weinstein do it at one time?
Maybe the Kelsey brothers at some point will both be on.
Mo Howard's grandson hosted early season, though. I don't know. I think you guys might be the only ones, but all right. I'll always think of you as a 154 half miler, but we can move on to your movie career.
153.
153?
I mean, if we're talking about it, 153.
153 in high school. For casual listeners, this is a national class. This is a guy who's going to go maybe on a scholarship to a college at 153 in high school.
And you're a good runner too. Do you
Not at your level.
You faded out.
427 mile does not translate to 153.
I wish I'd pursued it. I didn't. I kind of I didn't realize how kind of important high school or just sports were to me until I stopped playing them after high school.
Yeah. I guess that's always the thing. We had a team. My high school program was like a college program. It was pretty unbelievable. But anyway, for people who have turned us off at this point, for you track fans, our guest today.
Look at this study. Looks like the Marlboro Man. We got Horizon, Dana saw you in Horizon. I like a big fat ass Western.
By the way, I loved it, and I loved you in it. You are a IMBD. I don't know who writes this stuff, but it was kind of cool. It referred to you as the handsome Texan.
Jesus,
Luke Wilson.
That's what I want to be called.
I want to be called the hand. I can't say that.
My grandmother might have written that a few years ago.
Yeah, no shit.
So just because Horizon's right up on our near Horizon,
right in the screens.
You also have a new movie out. I loved it. I think it's gonna.
That's not even why I'm here, guys. I'm excited to talk to you guys. I mean, I'm really. I hadn't really gotten into listening to podcasts, and then I'd heard about you guys having this one, and it was kind of SNL related. Mm-hmm. And then I'd gotten to. I mean, I've listened to pretty much all of them, and then for me, the funniest thing is like. It's the only time I've ever enjoyed listening to people talking about comedy where I haven't been like, why don't you fucking make me laugh? Instead of telling me how hard comedy is. But no, I love the show. And I mean, the most recent one I listened to was Nick Swardson, which was a really funny one. And then, gosh, I listened to one that was a couple of years old, but you guys got to kidding around about just pilots and making connections and being stuck on planes. And gosh, it was so funny.
Shit, I was going to tell Dana, I had this girl on this plane this last week when I was on the road, and it's all silent in first class or whatever class I was in. And she goes, and I just go, I pop up like a meerkat. I'm like, because you can't just get away with that. And then everyone's quiet. And then she goes, again, really deep one. And so, of course, I wake the guy next to me. I'm like, hey, man, like it's a terrorist. I go, we got a situation, dude. Like, what are we doing? Because something's going on. There's germs everywhere. And then I sort of unionize everyone around me. I go, what, like, where's the air marshal? Like, let's bring them back for this. Because then she sneezed. I'm like, oh, get fucked. You're not sneezing and acting like it's nothing. We're all flying together. And the stewardess is up there reading Us magazine. I go, get on this shit. Dive on that grenade.
Yeah. Have the air marshals just kind of quietly faded away? Because, I mean, it was amazing for a while there. You could always see those guys, kind of the kind of like ex officio shirt on or the like fishing shirt on
yeah. Just really like doing People magazine crossword, staring at everyone, faking it. Yeah, I gunned somebody down.
I flew with a guy who was terrified to fly, worse than me. And then on came the plane right at the end. We were in first class, but it was a pretty big first class, domestic. And anyway, so
everyone's
6
puking
people
in their cars
of Middle Eastern descent came on and sat down, and they all started praying. And this guy is flipping out. And I just said I said, it's so obvious it can't be true. You've never been safer. It's way too obvious because it was,
Yeah, so Martin Lawrence had a great bit in like his second stand-up special about like post 9/11. That was the only time he'd really seen blacks and whites working together was, on a plane, kind of monitoring who was coming in on and off.
Who to be racist against together.
Yeah, exactly.
I like when they bring out the beverage cart and the flight attendants stand in front of it with their arms crossed.
Yeah,
oh boy, nothing's getting through that.
You guys mentioned that your life depends on margarine and some mini bottles. That's what stands between you and going down.
Dude, I stand up in the back and I just pull out a little curtain to look up in first, and she's got the beverage cart and she's like, just gives her hand like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's as far as we're going right now. We got a whole thing up here. You know what the bev cart means. And so I was like, oh, you can't even get close. You can't stand up. They think you're making a move.
I know. And on the back of her uniform, it said "Stand your ground." I thought it was a little dark. I mean, do we need to
we're
know?
Over Florida right now.
I'm just trying to get to Houston. Okay, 90 minutes. I don't need some kind of action up toward the bulwark part of the atmosphere.
Well,
I lost
you have got the Dennis Miller down, and he makes it's almost like having him be the third host because
Yeah.
he makes an appearance at every show you guys do through Dana.
Lovitz and Dennis make appearances.
God, and this week I was, for some reason I was like, I'm gonna go back, and couldn't find anything to watch. I was like, I'm gonna start the Larry Sanders Show again.
Oh, shit.
There you guys are, first season. Both of you guys are in that.
Look at that.
Bits. That's incredible.
Oh,
I was in the first show, I think.
Yeah.
One of them substituting for Larry.
Yeah, I think that was I think right around 4, but David might have been in the first one. I think he might have beat you in there.
I don't know. I was recorded before the show premiered, and then moved. Do you remember Hervé Villachez?
Yep, saw that one where he had the beard, and then you had the
Hervé Villachez was my guest, and because he was just from another country, he didn't know he wasn't on a real talk show. He didn't know he was doing a talk show within a talk show with, so he thought he was in a real
with
talk
a substitute talk show host.
Yeah.
Dana, yours might not have been first only because would they have the first episode without establishing Larry has his own show and everything? Because if he had a guest host.
Yeah.
I was. I think mine, Luke. Thanks for bringing this up.
Guys, hey, let's just agree that you were both there first season. But I was even thinking about that in terms of getting into the business. Dana got in first, then David got in.
Yeah.
Then I got in.
Yeah, you followed our footsteps.
He is the silverback in the group. We have to.
That's what we say.
You would have loved that, Luke. Did you ever get on Larry Sanders?
No, I didn't. I think by the time I got to town, because I can remember watching it back in Dallas. I think it was already off. But I can remember seeing. Gary Shandling around Santa Monica when I first got into town.
Really? Then
knew people like Duchovny that were friends with him, and Greg Kinnear that knew him. But he was not, the show had finished by then, but such a funny show.
And the interesting part was that he did that style of shooting, quasi documentary, and then that influenced Ricky Gervais.
Oh yeah,
who made The Office and
a lot of handheld stuff.
And then we got Our Office, but there was no digital, so he had 3 guys with 16 millimeter cameras on their shoulders. So I'm talking to Larry, got one on me, one on Larry, and a 2-shot. And so you could overlap, do whatever you wanted. Yeah. Every take would be its complete organic take. So it was the easiest acting. I don't know if you ever. I mean, when digital came in, that was more around, but at the time it was like just completely organic, super real. That's why it popped.
But still, so much more difficult to have to do that on film. But interesting that you guys did it. And I was thinking about you guys. Did you guys ever watch? Because to me, the funniest show, and I guess it qualifies as a sitcom, is Fawlty Towers.
Yes,
with John Cleese, and it only ran for 2 seasons, but that to me is just unbelievable.
Dana, you saw that? I don't think I saw that.
Have you not seen it, David? You've got to watch that. I mean, the guy. I'm sure it's one of those things that's scripted, but he is so funny with the sides and muttering that it seems unscripted.
That's me. Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's unbelievable. And only went for 2 seasons, so probably only about 20 episodes, if that.
I think 28 or something. It's like kind of like The Honeymooners or something. But John Cleese, I think The Honeymooners was only 28.
Did that only go a couple of seasons?
Yeah, just not that many.
Yeah, they only got 50 million viewers, so they had to cancel it. Back then.
All right.
But John Cleese and Monty Python, what I mean? They're just, and your dad, insert your dad. It's just a fun fact.
This
your
is a trivia.
Dad brought Monty Python to America.
Well, my dad was working at a PBS station in Dallas, Channel 13. And
KERA.
KERA. And he somehow wound up as the program director without any experience. But it was really, he had this friend, kind of buddy that he'd hang out that worked there, Ron DeVilliers. But he was the one who had had maybe a Monty Python. Did they have a record before they had anything televised? But anyhow, he's the one who had said to my dad, "These guys are unbelievable. They're from England. We got to get them on the show." And then they got the guys to come to Dallas, where they had kind of a wild couple of nights with those guys. But yeah, it was at first aired on KERA in Dallas. But yeah, it was really my friends, my dad's friend, Ron DeVilliers, who got my dad to do it. But yeah.
It says here it was your dad, so we're going to go with that.
Okay, good.
And so you sort of got into that kind of comedy. Like when I was a kid, I saw Life of Brian. I was a kid, but I thought, holy shit, it was like rated R. But I thought that was so fucking funny, and it was not like what I'd seen, regular stuff I'd seen, you know.
Yeah, I can remember when that came out. Somehow it was kind of over my head, and I still haven't seen all the Monty Python stuff. And I know, it's one of those things where people, I don't think I've seen the whole thing. Where
I didn't get all the stuff because I was too young, and it's also some English humor, but I just remember thinking there were boobs in it. Maybe that was it.
Yeah. It's like
maybe that's why I liked it.
Benny Hill could keep you keyed into hopefully some females, but somehow that kind of was over my head at the time. But I've since there are all these kind of documentaries about Monty Python, and I just find those so funny because they're all such Eric Idle and Graham Chapman, and they're all such funny guys. And just all that stuff they all kind of went to the same, the kind of these boys' schools like Eton. And then I think they all went to one of two colleges like Oxford, and can't remember what the other one was, but they're all, especially of course, John Cleese is just so funny. But they do seem like kind of, that's one thing I wanted to ask you guys about. Cause one thing I always think about, funny people and, is somehow they have kind of also very sensitive, but also like a quietly kind of rebellious spirit to to where you can get told when you're, a kid. And I'm not including myself. I'm talking about guys like you. And I think about people like Mike Judge, where you can get told that's not funny. You need to grow up. You need to get serious and not do that. Where a lot of people say, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. I need to stop imitating this person or walking funny or, that kind of thing." Where I think there's a kind of a rebellious spirit in there that I find really interesting that you guys have.
It may be a little bit of a through line of some kind of childhood connection. Not that a childhood would completely create a full form person as a genetic component, but there's a little bit of passive aggressiveness into it. I noticed later that all my characters were cocky and aggressive. Church lady, Hans and Franz, we could take go father. And I thought, I'm a nice guy, and I have the disease to please.
Right.
But as a comedian, I could just be kind of passive aggressive.
Right. And also
like a ventriloquist.
I had heard you, talking. Maybe it was on Howard Stern, just kind of talking about how your dad, how he could be kind of hard on you. Like said, you and a friend were like trying to fix a car, like a lawnmower in the yard.
A weed killer thing.
Yeah. Have you thought about using your penis?
No, I said, Dad, what tool should I use for this? Me and my best friends in junior college in the garage, just in the morning. What tool should I use? And he was just in a mood. He was just in a moment. He's in the garage. He said, quote, and we never forgot it. "Oh, Jesus Christ, use your penis, you shithead."
That's like my Judge has a great one about his father. And I think his dad was, like a archaeology professor, but he'd left the house one day. He told Mike to mow the lawn and I think it was in Albuquerque, and he got home at the end of the day, and Mike hadn't mowed the lawn. And Mike is one of those people, when he'll imitate someone, he'll kind of contort and turn into the person, but you'll see him turn into his dad, where he's like, "I told you to mow the goddamn lawn." But I also think it's something that ties into like musicians. Like I'll think about like Tom Petty. He's one of those guys that had a tough dad, or like Bruce Springsteen had like a dad that like didn't communicate with them. I mean, so I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those things where you can retreat.
Yeah, it's also there's a little bit of attention getting when I was no dad around. So, and you'll never believe this, I was a bit of a pipsqueak growing up, and so
that was your nickname.
Small fry, shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, I had a few of those.
Yeah. Fruit cake, fruit cup, fruity. Any derivative.
Any derivative of fruit.
Yeah. Now, back then, fruit sort of had a negative connotation. I can't.
Well, you guys
revenge. Time.
Yeah, it was a different time.
Hey, folks.
Fruit cocktail, fruit cup.
That was
tutti fruity.
Fruity shorts, fruit pants.
Yeah, fruity pebbles.
Fruit lover.
So I was sort of like whispering jokes around, almost just to survival mode in school, and not confident enough to think the joke should be at full volume. So I would just say it, and if anyone laughed, I'd be like, "Oh, that was a joke." And if they don't laugh, you go, "I wasn't." I'm just
that was just a muttering.
Yeah, it was a mutter, and so that sort of got me through. But there is something to all that stuff.
I really think there is. And did you guys ever, like, I always think like the friends you had back then, like I always think like with, really funny people like you guys, you had to have been around other really funny kids, but where you guys would have, kept moving in the direction of, where you wound up, where they kind of would have done the thing that I was talking about, where they would have, grown up, gotten serious.
The hard part, Luke, is right after college, because that's the big split where you go, I go to college or I do this stupid fucking shenanigans that make no money. And it's, oh, look at my balloons. What just happened?
This happens on our.
I know
what. How did I cue that?
I heard you guys talking about.
This is it. You see it, Luke. We just had balloons pop up.
A great way to like make
I don't know how it works.
It's so much funnier. We got to show it on video.
I found it kind of moving. You were talking about.
It was. I was giving a speech.
It was emotional.
Yeah. Anyway, who cares?
No, but really, it's true. Like,
it's true.
I remember being surprised when a couple of my best friends like saying like, "You want to be a stockbroker?" You never told me that. I didn't know that. And they said, "Well, what do you want to know?" I said, "I don't know. I have no idea what I want to do."
Was your dad tough? I mean, you have 3 kids in acting. I mean, who lets that happen? Who's watching?
My dad was. I know he was a very nice, kind of funny guy. And I mean, I'll think back and I'll talk about it with my brothers, just thinking like, gosh, he must have been under quite a strain to have like, 3 kids and,
boys,
school, keeping us in school. And then he had, by that time, by, the late 70s, he'd started like a little kind of advertising company, just him and, like 4 or 5 people. But yeah, my dad was great. And, I never had a crossword with him really. But in terms of, I don't, they hope for and they certainly didn't say like, don't try to get into movies or don't try and make a movie. But they, would have been kind of, I'm sure now looking back, they were kind of quietly concerned, but definitely, had the feeling where we were from in Dallas, you could see people just kind of looking at us like kind of these guys that had lost their way and now had settled on the pipe dream of wanting to get a film made.
What was the first thing? Was Bottle Rocket? Is that the you guys did together? Just as who would know how to make something that good that fast? That's so rare.
Well, I think it was just Owen and Wes Anderson trying to write something.
Was he a buddy?
Yeah, Owen had met Wes in an English class at the University of Texas in Austin. Wes was from Houston. They didn't know each other, and they were both wrote. And then Wes, I think even back then, wanted to direct stuff. So then he and Owen did kind of a 1-act play with Owen in it and Wes directing. And then they'd written a whole script of Bottle Rocket, and it was kind of around the time of like Sex Lies and Videotape and the Brothers McMullen were these kind of cheaper films were getting made, and we thought, okay, well, maybe we can do one of those. And they'd written a whole script, and then we learned that, well, even to do it cheaply would cost $400,000 or something. Shit. So met this guy in Dallas who had said, you should, from the script, make a short film, and then there's this thing called the Sundance Film Festival in Utah where they have a shorts program. And this was the early days of Sundance, and then that's how that all.
So that people already saw a 13-minute version. That didn't go wide though, right? That just investors or something.
Yeah, it just went in. It went to Sundance. Nothing happened with it there. And then a woman named Barbara Boyle, a producer, she saw it and liked it, and she got it to a producer friend of hers, this woman Polly Platt, who's kind of an interesting woman, like kind of behind the scenes. She'd been married to Peter Bogdanovich, and she was instrumental in getting The Last Picture Show and Paper Moon made.
Oh, shit.
But then they got divorced, and then she kind of became the right-hand person of James L. Brooks. And she's the one who got him to make Terms of Endearment, because that was also a Larry McMurtry book, like The Last Picture Show. And, they went on to make Broadcast News. And then she saw the short, liked it, read the script, got it to James L. Brooks. And then we started this kind of long process of trying to get it made, just because at the time he was making this movie, I'll Do Anything, which at the time was kind of famously, it was going to be a musical with,
I remember that.
Music by Prince and choreography by Twyla Tharp. And, Nick Nolte was in it, and they did all this stuff. Hey. It was a musical, and they decided to Satya Nolte.
Yeah, Jesus. That's like North Dallas 48 hours. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I mean, 48 hours to me is, I was just watching a lot of that last week. But anyhow, that's how it got started. And, that's how it started.
Holy shit. And James L. Brooks is huge. Yeah.
You're like 22 when Bottle Rocket
I think
comes
around,
out?
I think around 22 or so. And I think it was about 94 we made the short. And then I know the movie came out in 96.
When you went back to the town, I mean, I think you were in Occidental. When you went back to the hometown, it was different, right? I mean, people were like, what the fuck? You guys are movie stars. I mean, it must have been
Were you a movie star then? What did it feel like?
Well, I mean, you got in a big movie.
When we were making, there's still, I mean, Dallas is kind of a,
pretty big town.
Yeah, it's a big town, and also kind of a money driven town by, like very traditional, businesses. And oil and gas. So we weren't kind of welcomed back as heroes. We were still the guys that, if anything, it was there more time. What are you guys doing? They're doing what? Hey, my buddy saw. It looks like you guys were filming a movie over there by the
motion picture
by kind of near downtown. Hey, you guys, it's never kind of like, hey, great job or congratulations.
Right? They kind of shit on.
We always laugh about that after we'd made Bottle Rocket. And, some producers saying to us, like, I hope you guys are ready for your lives to change. And we were like, oh yeah, we are so ready. And then, like, kidding around, okay, 30 years later, still nothing has changed.
They told me I auditioned for American Idol.
Changed when Bottle Rocket came out, where came and went in 2 weeks.
But you're looked at a little differently. Like when I'm from Arizona, just the fact that I moved to LA, I was a star. I did nothing. I'm just there like, wait, you were in LA, you've been to LA, and you moved there? Because everyone's like, I might move to LA, and no one did. And I did, and they're like, what the fuck? And meanwhile, I'm scraping and scratching and doing nothing. But I got an audition was like front page news. They couldn't fucking believe it. So.
Yeah, and even with Arizona being closer, you'd think it would be less impressive. Right. I mean, you're 6 hours away.
They were flipping out. They couldn't believe when I got my first call back. It took about a year, honestly. But you take a while, and then you get something, and then that's big news. But this little wispy nothings are a big deal, because in my head, they were a big deal to get an audition, to get a 6-minute spot at midnight. and Bomb at the Improv was exciting. So, it's all the same. And then you inch your way up to fame. My fame never came quickly. Was yours quicker? Because Bottle Rocket, and then what was the one that people really kind of turned their head? Did it take a while? Was it Old School, Legally Blonde?
Yeah,
Those ones are big fucking monsters.
Where that was maybe the first big hit where, people you wouldn't expect to recognize you, little kids and moms.
Goes wide.
Yeah. And then, I guess definitely then Old School where it really connected with guys and, guys who were my age at the time. And then, I don't hold it in the same level as Animal House, but it was that kind of movie.
Yeah. It was pretty big.
So you get teenage boys and then, guys our age that loved it. But yeah, I guess with those kind of started.
Well, you, Vince and Will, both all kicking on all 4 gears. It was great. I mean, and a script. And it was, Todd Phillips too.
Yeah, Todd Phillips. But yeah, that was incredible being around Will. That might have been like the first SNL. And then I was thinking about it since, like, I've worked with so many of you guys, and like Kristen Wiig, but so many SNL people. And to me, that's been, besides getting to work with guys like Nolte or Gene Hackman and James Caan, that was always kind of like the most exciting thing to me. Like, okay, I'm getting to work with, the guys that my dad loved and the guys that, were so cool. But then getting to work with SNL people, which I've gotten to work with so many and still do. But that's always been kind of the high point is those older, male actors, and then you SNL people. And I know Dana.
Which one are we?
You guys are
the older male SNL actors now.
You guys are the SNL actors and the old studs.
Yeah, there you go.
How was Gene Hackman? Because I don't know if this is true, but I think it was The Quick and the Dead. It was a Sharon Stone sort of produced comedy. It had Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s.
Is it a comedy?
No, it was a Western.
Right.
And the director's out there and the crew and everyone, and Gene Hackman, and he's going, okay, so Gene, you'll walk down here, you'll pivot here. He's going like this. And Gene Hackman just said in front of everybody, okay, first of all, I'm not going to do any of that shit. and don't you ever give me a fucking direction again.
Oh my God.
I did see Gene get
testy
a little,
but I love a guy with that kind of control,
a little
and
hot
power
under the collar. But I think with him, like, number one, like, he's one of those guys that you always think of as being like age 50. But even when I worked with him on the Royal Tenenbaums, he was 72. But
he looked 50 at 30, and then he stayed 50.
Always
Hoosiers.
But he was a Marine, and then a real actor's actor in the best kind of way. But like a New York guy, he'd been like I think roommates with like Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall. But I think he'd really put his time in and really did take it seriously. But he got a little heated a couple of times, and then I think he kind of settled into the movie we worked on together, The Tenenbaums. But I do remember one time, just kind of sitting there, and I could feel Gene kind of just staring at me. I kind of looking over out my face, and like, oh man, I'm like, hey Gene. He's like, you remind me a lot of my son. Oh, and I was like, how do you guys get along? But he was great. I do remember when I worked with, I always ask people that worked with him, like, how was it when you worked with Gene Hackman? And I asked Nick, first. I loved it. And I asked Nick Nolte because they had worked on this movie Under Fire, and Nick was like, "Oh, Gene and I got along great." But he told a really incredible story about Gene losing his temper at the end of the movie. There was some shootout, and I think the director's name was Costa Gravas, some kind of European director, but he was saying, in the finale, in the middle of the street, that's when they killed the pig in the middle of the street. an actual pig, and Gene said, yeah, no, I'm not going to do the scene. If you're going to slaughter a pig in the scene, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, really? Kill one in the scene?
And he said, Gene, no, this is part of the movie. It's it shows that everything dies at the end. It's a slaughter, whether it's a pig or human. And Gene was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. You can film it in a way that you don't need to slaughter the pig in the scene. And he said, okay, Gene. Then they do the scene, and this guy slaughtered the pig, and Gene went ballistic on this South American location. And Gene, screamed at Nick. He was like, Nick, did you know about this? And Nick was like, no, Gene, I didn't. And then he went up to the director. He said, you told me you weren't going to do that. You agreed to that. And the director said, no, Gene, I did not know. I told these stupid guys not to do that. Gene was like, you're telling me that you told them not to do it? He said, yes. But Gene, you should have seen your reaction. It was wonderful. and then Gene flew off the handle.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Did he get physical or just verbal?
I think just verbal. I mean, and he is a big guy, but I think that, but I think he's also one of those guys that, like, somehow, that what we love about him comes from that same kind of anger. The way he kind of, the way he kind of chuckles and smiles.
He chuckles through scenes. It's run there, he was my favorite guy. There was 10, 15 years, people go, who's your favorite actor? He was definitely one of three. I would just go,
for
Gene
sure.
Hackman, when he's always kind of laughing and shaking peanuts in his hand.
He's got
and like Mississippi Burning, where he's like, he got a stupid smile.
Yeah.
He always kills it all the way back.
He is
Side Adventure.
He's like, the top three where, if he's in it, it's going to be watched.
I'll go. Oh,
Costner, going full circle, said that Gene Hackman was the best actor he'd ever worked with.
Yeah.
What did they do?
That was when he played the Russian
No Way Out.
Yeah.
Was it No Way Out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Costner about it too. And he thought he was the best. And then he had a thing where they played a scene in Gene's office a certain way. And each time they were both sitting, and this was like the third scene where they're in Gene's office, and Kevin said to the director, I think that I should be standing, during the scene. He's like, no, it just doesn't work if you're not sitting. And while Kevin and the director are going back and forth, Kevin said that, Hackman's just kind of sitting there watching it. And then the director said, okay, well, what's Gene supposed to do? If you're standing up, over him in his office. And Costner said to him, like, Gene will figure it out. And still, Hackman didn't say anything. They did the scene. And then that day, in the studio parking lot, Hackman called Costner over to his car, and he's like, oh boy. But then Gene said, you reminded me a lot of myself, when I was kind of younger a few years ago, and just, you really care about what you're doing. And, I think it's great, but it was just kind
good.
I think he's a cool guy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, that's the kind you don't like that he's not in as much, You're like, I want always to be the same age, just always be in movies.
I know.
How often have you been in a film? Like when you tell about the pig killing thing with, it's kind of like, okay, this is more dramatic. And better than anything in the movie. And sometimes that you must both have had experiences of people going off or whatever and going, can we get this on film?
Oh gosh, so much. Or just like being around like funny crew people, be like, this guy's funnier than anything
than everything in the movie.
Like the Teamster that I talked every day. Where it's I just remember like kind of being on set one day, like trudging to set, and they're like, God, I can't believe it's only Tuesday. And this Teamster was like, it's Thursday, Luke. I'm like, no, man, it's only Tuesday. It's like, it's Thursday. It's always Thursday. That was this guy's like motto.
The attitude,
his thing.
It's always Thursday.
I had a Teamster.
Only one day to go.
Yeah.
Every day is one day to go.
You ever have a crew guy stand next to you, Luke, and then they go, you might not have this because they say the fucking ballsy shit sometimes. One guy goes, this one's a little light on the laughs, huh? I'm like, what the fuck, this movie? But I'm like a hired hand. I didn't write it. I'm like, I mean, I don't know, dude. We're doing our best with it.
Oh yeah. Well, now
little soft.
Well, now it's just like, people texting, like you look over and see that.
They're talking about you.
Well, do I want this guy, texting or smirking at me or looking at me? What the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah,
it really is funny. But yeah, definitely those, what you were saying, so many instances of like, God, if the movie could be as good as what's going on in the making of the movie,
behind the scenes. When I was doing Road to Wellville with Anthony Hopkins, the smartest guy in this set was the head of makeup, and his name happened to be Peter Frampton. But he could dissect the script, why it's working. That's the one. No, I mean, it was effortless for him.
Yeah. I hope he stood behind the director.
Well, that was an Irish. That crew was Irish, I guess, or Scottish, whatever. But after the lunch break, the entire camera area smelled like Guinness beer. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, everybody would have like 8 or 10 pints would come out for the second part of this.
Jesus.
And there was a whole drama with the director and this woman, and you'd be screaming, and he's hungover, and then he's going after it. Like, so anyway, the making of movies.
Well, that's I just heard someone saying, like, talking about Cinecittà, the famous Roman studio. I've never gotten to work there, but this actor was saying, like, I always like working at Cinecittà, and you'd go to lunch and everyone would drink wine and you go back to work. But I mean, I do kind of can't help but romanticize those old days of filmmaking. Although I am kind of glad I missed that the 80s in Hollywood sound a little dicey in terms of
for safety.
Well, just like just night shoots and like guys, kind of doing drugs on the different trucks and
I think that might still be going on. I don't love night shoots. I don't love some sets are actually really fun, Dana. Some are fun, some are fucking work, and it's
and then there is the classic thing where you have a great time on a set, and the thing doesn't work, and then there are those times when it's been a grind and it does work. Or you hear about like, Deborah Winger and Richard Gere hated each other on An Officer and a Gentleman, and then it just seems like this magical incredible love story where,
And what is the alpha male thing of like, do we have to shoot 25 hours straight? Because the crew, the first day, the crew looks fresh faced. 3 weeks in, they look like 100 years older, and like, we're gonna go triple overtime tonight, and it's like the most tired I've ever been in my life. Literally, was when I was walking to Stan Mikita's. I was gonna do Garth singing and dancing a song called "Foxy Lady." And I'm walking there, and I'd been on the set 21 hours. I thought, this is crazy. Like the most tired I've ever in my life. Now I've got to bring it to this thing I dreamed of my whole life. But
I think they're actually kind of now, like, because I just worked on something that had these really long hours, but I would come in on a Tuesday and a Thursday and do a scene or two. So I'd always be in a great mood. And just over the course of 4 months, people were just a little less friendly every time I went back.
And some people have rapophobia.
What do you mean? They're just angry? Or
well, just getting kind of worn out. Whereas like, first week it's like, introduce yourself to like the camera grip. And he's like, hey, my man, like big fan. Like we're gonna have a good time together, buddy. It's gonna be great. And, a month later, it's like, hey, Luke, how you doing? Then
hey, Luke, your line's sick.
And then I was like, move along. It's called a mark. If you could hit it, it'd be great. If you need a sandbag, we can do that. But you got to hit it because that's what it's lit for.
The DP's on his back under some kind of camera rig, reaching up like this, holding a light. All right, let's go.
I'm always standing by some union teams are going, we're never going to use this shot. I'm I listen, I can't, I have to do it. Whatever it is, I got to do it. They point me. I try to chime in and chirp up. You can't get away with shit. They're just like, it's a grind. People want to fill that day. They got to fill.
I don't know if I
long
jinxed
days.
it, but I was on Little Nicky, and it was one of Adam Sandler's, who's our biggest movie star.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember it was a night shoot, and it's like a Halloween film or something, because everyone's a little monster.
Or something. He doesn't
And
even
I'm
know what
standing next to Jack Jarabuto, the producer.
Yeah.
I just, without thinking, I said, "Is this going to work?" Because
it's so hard.
Well, I
don't
remember
know.
saying, I would say that to like, Mike Judge on Idiocracy. We'd be doing something, and I'd say like, Mike, is this too much?
Is it too dumb?
Right. And Mike would say, you don't think it's funny? And I was like, Mike, I think it's funny, but I mean, I'm completely immature. I'm like, 14 inside. I of course think it's funny. I'm thinking about the critics and regular citizens.
Citizens. Yeah.
we had Mike on this podcast.
I know, that was great.
And
He's funny.
And
yeah.
the visual on the Zoom when he goes into it was making me laugh so hard because he would become the character he does.
Oh
just
yeah,
subtly.
and you can see him kind of like swallow and like turn.
Hey, I don't
and
know
speaking of like
King of the Hill guy.
Yeah. Speaking of friends, like I can remember Mike talking about these guys that he'd grown up with, and he might have even talked about it on your show, but somehow, they were all kind of, 12 to 14, and somehow they mentioned, Teddy Kennedy running for president. And one of the friends said, "Yeah, no, he can never be president because of Chappaquiddick." And then one friend said, "Yeah, no, he'll never get to be president because of Chappaquiddick." And they were like, "No, Danny, you don't know what the hell Chappaquiddick is." and then they got into it. He said, "Yeah, I do. I'm not stupid. I know what Chappaquiddick is." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And he was like, "Chappaquiddick is it's a bird."
It's a bird. That's why he can't run?
Yeah.
Because of a bird?
No, this guy didn't know what Chappaquiddick.
No, I'm saying it's funny, but that's made sense to him. He's like, right, because the whole bird thing.
Was it David Fry who did an album that had part of that on it? It was somewhere I remember a comedian, maybe it was Monty Python. And the line was Kennedy saying, "When I return, Mary Jo and the car were gone." I just remember that. I don't know.
God, picture with Twitter back then. Everyone would be fucking analyzing everything back. You couldn't kill anyone back then.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. Today it's tougher. Look at Dana just did a baby Trump. You see it? It's for me.
Yeah. This is baby Trump.
Hey.
It's a baby Trump.
Like
a baby.
organism.
He comes up. It's happening. Venus
if they
Trump.
cut the sound off with his hands these days, with this, the
His speech is
accordion,
this.
and then the little thing with his form finger and thumb, we're going there, and they said this, and the baby comes out, and they do it. Sorry, you can't see that. The baby comes out, and a lot of times,
a lot of times,
many people are saying it.
Everyone's saying it.
Everyone's saying it.
A lot of people.
No, I don't. It was the best president in the history of the world. That's why I'm going to step
My granddad always said, Joey. I mean, he always gets me with that because I lean in like he would politely with kind of an older person. So he said, "What? Your granddad said what?
What did he say?
Dad lost his job.
No
joke.
You can't do that."
I like when he said they're trying to push him out. He goes, "I'm not going anywhere." He goes, one time in the playground, Corn Pop gave me some fucking lip, told me to get off the playground. I said, "I've never bashed his fucking brains in." I'm like, all right, maybe it's time. Okay. I fucking pushed that motherfucker. Okay. Dana likes that one. Look, Luke.
Look, and why is it coming up? Now you got one.
I don't know. I can make it happen.
Like what I like during that, the whole kind of, is he going to stay in or get out? Like, I guess this is just last week, but
yeah.
Was it Jim Clyburn? I don't know where this guy's from, but
Clyburn,
Clyburn. But he said, "I am all in. I am riding with Biden."
That's his last thing before he quits.
Yeah, it was great.
So,
he had me saying that for a day. I am all in. I am riding with Clyburn. I'm riding with Biden.
Yeah.
I'm riding with Biden, and whatever Joe wants to do, I will support him 100%. What? Dropped out? Well, fuck me with a spoon. I don't
Go
understand.
Kamala.
I never liked him. That guy was a demented cadaver from day one. But 3 seconds ago, you said he was articulate.
1 foot in the grave.
You're talking.
Get you out of
why
my
are you talking
face,
about
bitch?
yesterday when I want to talk about the future
Yeah.
of this country?
This guy's living in the past.
Yeah.
You living in the past, and I'm talking about making things happen fast and going towards excellence.
I'll tell you what happened. I think that whole crew behind Biden gaslit themselves. And that's why they agreed to that first debate. I think it'll be good. You think it'll be good? Yeah. Let's put him out there with Trump.
No training wheels. Push him out.
No. Oh, no. The puppet needs a puppet master. And this don't look good. I don't know what character it is, but it's
Yeah,
my
I don't
new character.
It's good, and I like how when you do it, somehow your camera thing starts shaking.
Oh, well, that's because I have a rickety.
Oh, maybe give him a Japanese earthquake.
It's like the it's like the comedy quake.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you can't do anymore, but we'll just do it. This is a Japanese man in an earthquake. What is it? What is it? What is it?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Little tremor. It went away. It's fine. Wait, something's going on. It's cutting out his sound too.
We've done this before in the podcast.
I know, it's good.
You're
We haven't
not
done it
going to
here.
get
It's great though.
That's
You're
on
not
Fly
gonna
Mo-
get
No, that's
canceled.
on Superfly. Yeah, we never done it over here.
I used to do a bit about the origin of languages. This is part of a longer bit of where accents came from. And with the Japanese, I thought maybe it was all the seismic activity begat. This is, and so
Makes no sense.
I didn't do it for a while.
I'm talking about the origins of accents here. Okay, you're getting fixated on this.
Yeah. And I bust myself. Why would anyone go across Europe with their sleeping bags? Let's go find a place to live and take a hard right and go to Scandinavia. They had to be stupid. That's why they talk like this. Let's get in the snow, okay? So I make fun of my tribe.
What are you guys, by the way? What is your heritage?
Irish, Scottish, Swedish, and Norwegian. What about David? You're up.
I think
I'm seeing a
Irish.
lot. I'm seeing a lot of Dane and a lot of German when I look at this fella.
Yeah, I'm probably
I see
that. Yeah,
German.
a lot of pasty shit. We shouldn't all be on the same Zoom. It's making me and Dane look bad. But you're like tan. Is that golf related or what is it? 'Cause I'm angry about it.
I live 100 miles away from the person who cuts my hair, so that's why.
No, your hair's got a little flip in the very, very middle. It looks good.
I don't know what's going on with it, but I live 100 miles away. Should I get a more localized haircut or person? Maybe right now.
Where do you live? Do you live up north of LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm out in the woods.
Nice.
He lives in an undisclosed
Got a
location.
nice little estate. Yeah, I think I know the name of the town. I guess I'll not say it because I don't.
Don't say it.
Because I don't want any. What would be the equivalent of Swifties for Carveys? I don't want any
Yeah, I
Carveys.
got some Carveys.
I don't want any Carveys going out there.
By the way, pop quiz, fellas. You ever met a Carvey? You've met
way.
a Carey. You've met a Garney. But have you ever met a Carvey?
Met a Carney.
You've never met, because there's only 5 of us in North America.
Jesus.
No, that's good. And not a lot of spades, too.
Not too many spades. Got the Spade Brigade over here.
God, Spade's a great name for Ace of Spades. He's got,
Yeah, it is. I mean,
he's got
I
a lot of-
remember Chris Rock goes, Spade, everybody thinks we made up our names. I didn't. Did you? I go, no. And he goes, now, Farley, I've heard that one before.
but even Farley somehow, matched Farley.
He's the Farley, though.
Yeah, he is the Farley, and somehow it was a great kind of name for him.
That's a great one. Yeah,
It's
it's
kind
like
of
a big dog.
It's kind
like
of
a-
lovable and
yeah.
but kind of crazy sounding.
Yeah, you're right. And Chris Rock suits. It's such a great
Rock.
Rock is
That
a showbiz
perfect.
name.
And he's out there. Yeah,
Like Belushi. Belushi was
Belushi's
perfect
a
for him,
good
and that's
one.
a perfect example. That's like a Carvey. Had never heard that before.
I never heard Belushi.
Mm-hmm.
Aykroyd is a good weird one that you don't hear a lot.
Hey, look, I was going to ask you guys, because in terms of SNL, like,
Mhm.
I did you guys have a thing where once high school, because I just going to do Seth Meyers like a month ago, and that 8H hallway where it's chronological order, all the, those great cash shots where I, started at the very beginning and, 75 and, which I wouldn't have seen as a kid. But then when I started watching, kind of late 70s with my, my dad and brothers, but then did you guys have a thing right around maybe 9th or 10th grade, when you started doing something on Saturday night when you could stay out to like midnight, where I feel like I missed quite a few years. And of course you couldn't see things viral. But I feel like I missed a few, seasons because it's when I'd started kind of, hanging around with friends on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And even in 7th and 8th, grade, you're at home, you're not going out.
You can't go out too late. That's the pocket of when you like a cast.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Where you really.
What was your cast?
I mean, that would have been the Eddie Murphy, that would have been like kind of, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13. But then.
You're 68, so that would be. I don't know how old you are. No, Luke, you're not. You're young.
No, we weren't born in 1980.
Dana, did you watch those first, like the 75ers and the 76?
Yeah, I mean, two things to unpack here. One is I never learned. I love that phrase. I never learned how to program a VCR or record, so I had to watch it live. I don't know when the VCR came in, but I was in college during those years, and I definitely copied Dan Aykroyd's Jimmy Carter and stuff like that. So I was aware of all that and having that dream. But I would miss shows because I was doing, toward that later part of the 70s, I was working clubs, and there'd be a second show, and I'd be on stage.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, when I got off SNL, I was working a lot, had a family, and I never learned how to program a VCR. So I did miss a lot of shows.
Yeah. That's
now everything's, I know.
Yeah,
but you have to catch the rerun.
Now, of course, now tape it, watch them all, or see it live.
So, Twitter, YouTube.
You guys, if you don't know about this, Peacock, I'll do a little at 8:30 Pacific time. You get to watch the show live.
I think even on California. I think even on satellite, Dish TV, it comes on early, which is always nice.
Yeah. So.
You don't really earn it though. You used to have to stay up.
Yeah,
tough. 11:30 was tough.
Yeah,
as a kid.
10:30 in Dallas, it came on. Yeah.
My dad would yell at me. No, he wouldn't. He left. He left early. He left when I was 4. I think we should just wrap it up with that.
You guys missed. The fun part was going to a drive-in movie. Me and 2 of my brothers. I had 3 older brothers. All night creature features. All night Vincent Price. Strangling, murder, mayhem.
Who took you there? Oh,
Brad.
Damn it, Dana.
Brad.
Was it your dad?
No, Brad, the guy who played Garth.
Oh, he took you to the... And you guys just fucking crashed there?
Yeah, we're just little brothers. He could stay up all night. I would not make it all the way to dawn. But
you were the youngest of 4, Dana?
I had a younger sister.
Okay.
But I was the youngest brother. They wanted a girl. I was the 4th one. So can we at least give them a girl's name? So that's why they got that. Better than Susan. Good night.
So you're 3 boys. Mine was 3 boys.
Oh, kid.
4 boys.
4.
Boys.
And Luke, what were you?
3 boys.
Yeah.
And where were you in the birth order, Dave?
I'm last. I was the youngest.
Really? Interesting.
I guess the youngest isn't really used with me a lot anymore, but I was the youngest and I was really super adorable. And these are other people's words.
I know. And, I saw you on that.
My dad said we were a hassle. I swear later, I go, I love that you wanted to have kids and you split. And he goes, you're a fucking hassle, man. I go, that's what we're going with. That's your company line. And no one's told you that's not what you should say to your kids. He's like, hey, you're a fucking pain in the ass.
I remember my dad one time losing his temper with us saying, when you all 3 get together, you're your own lowest common denominator. I was so bad at math, but I just knew that was that. Okay,
I don't even. Sounds bad.
Good.
We would have fought you if the Carvey brothers, different era. If we were up with you, Wilson guys, yeah, there would have been fist fights.
What?
For sure.
Why? Just
because
you're
my
both
dad had a
hard asses?
boxing ring, and we had boxing gloves, and we would have boxing
Beat the
matches,
shit out of
neighborhood
each other.
boxing matches.
I mean, isn't it amazing about the teasing that goes on in families? And I feel like, just like with Owens, two little boys, they're 10 and 13, but they're really nice to each other. I mean, there's like a little teasing going on, but I mean, when we were growing up, it was brutal. It was really,
my brother wanted to kill me. My brother wanted me out.
Yeah. I remember I was really excited. I got these white suede Docksiders that I'd saved up money to get. And, I mean, boy, talk about regretting a purchase. Once my brothers and my dad started making fun of me about these babies.
Your dad?
Oh, my dad!
Your dad jumped in.
My dad called them the Dusties. He's like, "Yeah, why don't you tell the dad? Put the Dusties on. Let's go get some breakfast."
What does that mean?
What did they look like? I'm sorry.
You know, Docksiders, right?
I only know desert
Topsiders.
Top
shoes with the like strings through them almost.
Exactly, and the
leather.
Oh, okay.
They were
because you were near the water.
No, we weren't, but they were. They were.
Probably. I had them when I was in Arizona.
So. Those kind of boat shoes. Yeah, that would be humiliating.
And guys wore them around, in the late 70s, early 80s. But somehow I got a pair of white suede ones I discovered.
God damn.
Yeah,
I would have jumped in on that beating.
I would have teased you. I would have gone. I would have gone to town on that, man.
You look like fucking a racer.
You set up everybody in that family.
It's either like, when you're in that position of wearing the Dusties, you either, get your feelings hurt and be like, hey, you start laughing about it yourself.
It's hard to have pride when everyone hates them.
Before we go, I want to give Luke a specific compliment because I noticed it and mentioned it to my wife because she saw the movie with me. So we're watching Horizon and we're loving it because I just love Westerns. And the scene, you're kind of the head guy of this wagon train. Yeah. And so these two creepy guys kind of are looking at a woman cleaning herself and stuff. So, and then you're just trying to make the thing go fine, get everything in control. But the way you went up and approached these guys who clearly didn't give a fuck about you, they were ready to kill you, but you were really talking to them. And then the guy stood up. He's like, and then your reaction of where you decide in your, okay, I'm not going to fight over this right now, was really, really compelling. I don't know. I just really remember because I put myself in your shoes. You gotta go talk to these guys and tell them to stop doing this. And it's like so awkward. But I thought the scene was great.
Oh, thanks. That's funny you say that. That's where, Kevin Costner, he's really good and sensitive as a director, because he'll go through it all and he'll start kind of acting it out physically. He's like,
thinking it
he's
out.
Like, and you don't want to go up to these fucking guys. You don't want to go back to your family. It's late. You've been on the trail all day. You've been out here 3 months. You don't want to go talk to these guys, but they've been helping you, but you got to go up there. They can't do what they've been doing. So,
I love it. I love Costner. God,
through it. And then it's just one of those things where I'll think like, okay, if I could just kind of do it just like Kevin was doing it when he was showing it to me, that would be good. But thank you for saying that. And thank you for watching it with Mrs. Carvey. And, we'll get Dave to watch it all.
I'm waiting for part 2. I'm going to do a whole thing at once.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. A little Horizon Marathon.
What's the new one with the?
We got to mention that
Arlington. Were you in Arlington, right by your house or something?
Oh yeah, I was at the All-Star game where where I'd taken out the game ball for the All-Star game. And I took a couple of friends with me that I'd grown up with were there. And, they were kind of making fun of me and the fact that it wasn't televised. And they kept saying that I was the guy that gave the ball to the guy that gave the ball to the guy that gave the ball that put it on the mound. Just that it wasn't very...
That's an important job.
Right. But I have this Little League movie coming out called You Gotta Believe in late August that me and Greg Kinnear did. So that'll should be.
Yeah, because I saw. Did you shoot it in Arlington, by the way?
We unfortunately shot it, or not unfortunately, but it was set in Fort Worth. But it's just one of those things where, in order to get more bang for your buck,
because I thought you shot it in Fort Worth.
No, we went to Canada. I wish we had shot in Fort Worth.
Really? Because they did a good job.
Yeah, I'm sure they got some exterior Fort Worth shots, but yeah, it's a good little story, and it's funny. And I mean, I know you guys have worked with kids before, but it's one of those things where it's kind of funny just being around these kids all day, and then their parents. Where Kinnear and I had fun working with them. I had to kind of yell at them a couple of times. You guys need to focus.
Yeah, for sure. But this is a new wave of kids too. It's like. Yeah, like kids when we were kids, and you're like, this isn't anything like probably the kids we used to hang out with at Little League.
Oh gosh, no! It was kind of like Bad News Bears, meets the Warriors when we were growing up.
The Warriors. Oh, I love both those movies. My God!
But it's based on a true story, and it's the longest Little League World Series in history, and stuff happens. And
it's this team that kind of this ragtag team that came out of nowhere from Fort Worth and just kind of kept winning and got all the way to the Little League World Series, and had these two coaches, one of whom, the guy I play, that was kind of got ill and wasn't able to coach the team. So then Kinnear's character kind of takes the team over. But yeah, it's a really good.
Reluctantly takes it over.
Yeah. And Kinnear and I had a fun working together because we're friends, and
he seems cool.
Play a lot of golf together, and it's nothing, like you guys know, there's nothing more fun than making a movie with friends. And gosh, that's the thing that so great about what Sandler does is putting those groups, and you get to do that with them.
Oh, you were in the Ridiculous Six.
I mean, that's where I got to see how the operation works, and it just seems like heaven. Just getting to be around your friends, having a manageable schedule, and Adam really sets the tone. And those guys, I just saw Adam, and those guys are getting ready to go do Happy Gilmore too. Just getting ready to go have some fun again, and then get to make something that people will. I mean,
Happy Gilmore will be a good one. I mean, that's something looking forward to. I think
that's a great idea. And Sandler does kind of he's the overriding force in the film. And so what he says goes. He has all his pieces in place, works with a lot of the same people. So it's all about having fun, and he knows what it's like.
Oh yeah,
when it's your take in front of the camera, you just gotta go in there. You do it. I'm sorry, David. Give me a Sandler. You gotta go in there. Just
what I remember from the Ridiculous Six, where it was a comedic western, but Frank Caracci, Sandler's friend, was directing it, and Sandler would always imitate Frank, and Frank was great with comedy and really fun to work with. But at one point, he was saying. So then, you guys come out of the saloon, and then you go over to the cart, and you jump in the cart. And Adam was like, "It's a wagon! It's a fucking wagon!" But just being out in the middle of nowhere in the desert of New Mexico and having these two guys like Adam from New Hampshire. I'm not sure where Frank's from.
I was. Fun. My stuff was with Blake Shelton and Vanilla Ice.
Right, because I remember that house you guys filmed at.
Yeah. We shot in a house. We did like a card game. We know this game when there's 6 people around. It takes a full day to shoot, or 2 days to shoot one scene, and it was a blast.
Were you Mark Twain?
I don't think so. I was Colonel.
Oh.
No, Vanilla Ice was Mark Twain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm sure he's played Mark Twain in many
Vanilla
things.
Ice was really good in that scene. I remember watching I mean, he was.
No, we had a blast.
Robbie.
All right. Oh, yeah. Luke, we'll have to play golf again one day, because we played one time and I kind of was a puss. Dana, it was super hot like it was yesterday. And then
Did you just go 9?
Luke took me 9. I was with my buddy Jody. And then I told him, I got a bad neck. I can do 9. Yeah. We get to 9. He goes, you're not fucking going anywhere. And so he drove through that little tunnel. You didn't let me get out. And then here we are playing 18, sweating sickeningly. But I think I'm better. I think I'm about 0.5% better than I was.
I'm getting worse and worse as I'm getting older. But it is nice to get out there and be outside.
No, it's definitely fun. I want to look like you when we get outside.
The only way to enjoy it is just assume you're terrible.
Yeah.
And you don't take it seriously. And usually if you get one good shot per hole that's decent, either your chip or putt or something.
Yeah. I yell pro
keeps
shot.
You coming back. But I look at people taking it. My brother would throw tantrums. I mean, he did a Tommy Hawk with his putter on the green, like, what the fuck? And I go, Scott, you're terrible. And so am I. I mean, we're all awful.
Yeah.
It's hard not to get mad.
It is. I remember a story Pete Sampras told me about seeing Jack Nicholson at the golf course and said, hey, Jack, how you doing? Jack was like, good. I came close today to giving up the game. And he was like, and Nicholson said, yeah, I told myself if I ever broke 70, that's it. And I was right there. I was going to shoot a 69 and I 3-putted. So I get to keep playing. And Pete was like, you shot a 70, Jack? That's great. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I shot a 70.
On a par 9?
No. Yeah.
No one plays 9 but me, Dana. It's 18.
My older brother tried with a 9, tried to get over a little pond. And we've all hit
Tin cup.
And he's got a 9 iron.
Splash,
13 times.
Splash.
He would do, if you stood behind him, sometimes he'd hit the edge of the ball and it would whiff over your head. He was literally a danger to other players. He tried 13 times and didn't get it over, and he never golfed again. That was it. He walked off. He wasn't even mad. Just like, that's it.
I'm not good.
Then he would just caddy. He would just caddy for us.
I'm done. No more.
Done. That's
Luke.
it.
I'm done. Thank you, Luke.
Hey, guys.
Luke,
thanks a ton. So nice to talk to you. The show is so funny and interesting. So really,
thank you.
Really enjoy listening to it. Listen to them all the time. So thank you. Keep knocking them out for us.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Let's all go to that restaurant that Neelan, Owen, you and I will bring Spade too.
Yeah, I would love to get dinner with you, Dana.
Yeah,
especially if there's a beginnings of a pandemic, then we'll go there.
Yeah,
just to repeat
that's the only reason we're gonna go.
Well, because then everything.
Let's hope we don't shut the world down again. Like we did. Somehow that trio, man, shut down civilization.
It's in Fauci's book. All right.
Okay, fellas. Guys. Thanks very much. Take it
thanks,
easy.
Luke.
Have a good rest of the summer.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all the stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.